Hello, testing. Cool. All right. Hi everyone, my name is Carla and I make videos on corporate soft skills, project management skills, really any kind of skills that help us survive this corporate society that we live in. Today, however, I wanted to shift a little bit onto a certain topic called personal financing. So as I've mentioned before, I am a first-generation immigrant, and that meant that I had to learn all the financial systems in place on my own because obviously my parents had just immigrated into this country. They were learning a new language, they were learning a new culture, they were learning how to survive in this society and be able to provide for their family on a day-by-day basis. They weren't really thinking, let me invest, let me buy real estate, let me, set money aside, or they couldn't even set up a 401k or a Roth IRA or anything like that. So one day I am traveling for work. I think it's my first work trip or one of my first work trips. And I have a layover at an airport. I think I was in Chicago. I don't know why, but I associate it with Chicago. And there's this gorgeous bookstore in the middle of the airport. And so I go in there and I'm just kind of browsing, looking for something to read while I wait for my layover to be over and read it on the plane. And I ended up picking up Get a Financial Life, Personal Finance in Your 20s and Your 30s by Beth Kobliner? I think it's Kobliner. And so she really kind of teaches you personal financing 101, right? The type of accounts, like your checkings accounts, your savings accounts, your type of retirement accounts, the Roth IRAs, what kind of insurance you should have, how to budget, how to keep a financial tracker, things like that. So I must have been, 24, 25 at that time, maybe younger, but I didn't really take it seriously until later on when I started watching a lot of YouTube videos on personal finance. And I did read all those books that everyone recommends, what is that called? The Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Get Rich Quick or something like that. I have the book, but I think it's on my bedside table, so I can't show it to you. So I definitely read all those books. I watched all the Graham Steffens in the world. And actually one of my favorite ones is Minority Mindset. He's really cool. I like him too. So it actually felt like I started thinking about my personal finances pretty late in life. And I was behind everyone else, which is honestly perfectly normal, especially coming from kind of a low income household, an immigrant household where really we're learning everything from scratch, from zero, right? It meant that I didn't know about 401ks, I didn't know about Roth IRAs, I didn't know about investing, I didn't know about saving, I didn't know about financial tracking, I didn't know how to save for a house or what a mortgage meant, what refinancing meant, what the down payment would be, what does that mean? And I didn't come from generational wealth. That wasn't something that was provided for me. So I had to build all of that on my own and learn all that kind of knowledge that you should get in school. That's another thing that makes me very angry, is that all of these financial education, why don't we get that in high school? And I didn't even get it in college either. I can be the smartest project manager, engineer, career woman, but I had no idea about any of this until I had to teach myself. So I really wanted to do a couple of videos talking about personal financing and the tools that really helped me get to where I am. Not saying that I'm somewhere really far in the financial life. I would say I'm just now kind of getting oriented and feeling better. But even through all those stumbling, those struggles and everything, I've been pretty successful. I was able to buy a home before I was 30. I've, saved up the 3-month emergency fund that you're supposed to have. I want to start showing you kind of those tools that I used So I had to stop recording for a little bit. As you can see, it's nighttime now. So I'm going to go through my kind of finance tools and what I've used and what I've learned. There's so many YouTube videos out there that there's no need for me to really kind of repeat that information or regurgitate that information. But I'm going to talk about the ones that really helped me, that were like personally, this tool is the one that got me to where I am right now. And maybe it's not super, I'm not rich, but I'm, a stable, financially independent millennial. That's as much as I can say, at least. One of the main things that I attribute my very small success is to a financial tracking tool. So, there's so many YouTube videos on financial tracking, and there's a lot of spreadsheets out there that are free, and you could probably just look up financial tracking template and it'll show you something, right? Which is what I did at the beginning. Like I said, when I very happily stumbled upon this book, even though I still hadn't implemented all the tools in that book, the one thing that I did do is start a financial tracking sheet. So I genuinely believe that the biggest benefit of having a financial tool that is manual is having this very deep understanding of your spending habits. And if you're trying to change your spending habits or modify your spending habits, or you have something coming up, so you really want to save X amount, or you want to update your budget and make it better, whatever it is, I think a manual financial tracking tool is important. If you're not in that part of your life and you really just want to know, like at the end of the month, how much you spent on takeout, how much you spent on groceries, how much you spent on clothes, an automated tool is probably for you. One more thing I want to mention is, yes, I've had a little bit of small successes, but I haven't done them on my own. One of the things that I had to do in order to save up for my house was live at home for 2 years. And even then, my mom helped me hit that number that I needed for my down payment. So I've always been very lucky to have people that support me. And there are a lot of people out there who don't have that. And it's going to take much longer than, right before you're 30 to get to that point to be able to buy a house or, whatever goal it is. And I just want to say that it's okay. You're not behind in life as long as you know your goals and you're figuring out a way to get to those goals. Everybody is on their own timeline. I wanted to say that because I always feel like when I watch these finance videos, I am so behind and I should be rich and I should be doing all these side hustles and all this stuff. Anyway, so let's get into my spreadsheet. Let me walk you through it. So here is my financial tracker spreadsheet. It has 14 tabs, the 12 months down here, then an overview tab, and then kind of a summary table tab that I'll go through. The overview tab has actual monthly expenses, actual monthly income, and then actual monthly savings, where the monthly expenses comes from the monthly tab. So for example, here, January is referencing the January tab where I have all my actual expenses kind of laid out. And this is the total of the January expenses. Then it has this little section where I add up all of the monthly expenses to give me a yearly expense number. And then the actual monthly income, or really this could have just been net monthly income. I don't know why I said actual, but it made sense in my brain. So that's what I did. And basically it is my income per month with, taxes taken out already and your 401k taken out already. Anything that is automatically taken out is already accounted for. And this is really just my net monthly income for each month. And as you can see here, it's referencing the monthly tab as well. Then I add up in this actual monthly or actual yearly income, and I add up all my income and it tells me exactly how much I made that year. Then I have this actual monthly savings where it basically subtracts the expenses from the income, and it should give you how much you were able to save that month. And it does that for each month. And then at the end, I can add those guys up and it'll give me a yearly savings number. These are all dummy numbers. They're just here to kind of show you how the spreadsheet works. As you go through it throughout the year, most of these will be blank and it won't be filled out completely like this until December. Then I have this kind of summary tab that I like to use, but let me show you first the monthly expenses and how I track that, because that feeds into the table and it'll make more sense. So let's start with January. So I have these categories. I have utility, debt, investment and savings, food, transportation, house, and personal. For your own spreadsheet, you might want different categories. Or for example, myself, this year I plan on adding a category called traveling. And so basically in the utilities ones, you're tracking all your monthly utilities. Here, I also like to add this additional category column so that I can kind of track by home, entertainment, and personal utilities that I pay for each month. So these are tracking my, monthly bills that I absolutely have to pay. And so in this little table, I have this equation here that adds up per category. And it kind of gives me an idea of how much I spent, for my home or for entertainment or for personal. And I like to have this little table because it also gives me an idea of the differences in utilities month to month. The next category is your debt. I love to have them in red because it really tells me kind of, these are bad numbers. We need to get rid of these numbers. So here I actually like to track where I am in my debt on the left-hand side and how much I am spending this month on, getting rid of that debt. Then I have my investments and savings, and it's basically how much I put into my savings account or into, maybe another investment, a brokerage account that I have. And if I have to do that manually, then I'll put that in here. Then my food, which is broken out between grocery and takeout and eating out. Transportation, which for me is gas, parking, Lyft and Uber, public transportation, so really just BART, DNB, car repairs, car insurance, things like that. Then the house, which would include the mortgage, and then miscellaneous, just on random things that I sometimes have to pay for owning a home. And then personal, which is my favorite category because it really shows me what I'm spending my money on. Right now, this is obviously very catered towards me. I have Home Depot, thrifting, nails, miscellaneous shopping here, which I actually only have this here for kind of a placeholder. I really list out what it is that I spent my money on. There's still kind of generic terms, like if I went shopping for clothes, I'll put clothes shopping or something like that. Here, I would highly recommend that you list out exactly what it is that you're spending it on. Each of these categories has a subtotal that adds how much you're spending in each category. And then down here, the actual monthly expenses will add up each of those subtotals. So it'll tell you exactly how much you spent every month. Then I have this net monthly income, and here I just hard code what my monthly income is for each, paycheck, salary, anything else. I just hard code. And this guy subtracts my monthly expenses from my income. And so this number should be the exact same as this number. If they do not match, then there's something off with your spreadsheet and you need to pay attention to that. So now that you see all the categories, you can go back to this kind of summary table, and basically it just adds up the category. So the subtotal for each category for that entire year. So that way at the end of the year, I know exactly how much I spent on utilities, how much I gave back to my debt, how much on savings, and so on and so forth. And that is it. That is my spreadsheet. So throughout the year, I just go ahead and spend a couple hours a month. Usually I do it when I'm paying for my mortgage at the beginning of the month. I'll go in and I'll update my spreadsheet for, the month before. But sometimes I'll do it twice a month just so it's not so overwhelming and I don't spend an entire Sunday updating my expenses. So that's my financial spreadsheet. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm going to link the spreadsheet down below for free. You guys can use it, modify it to fit your lifestyle just as much as I've modified it to fit my own. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.